Okay, so here's the new radiator. I'm prepping it with a new bracket, putting the Torx back in there from the old radiator and back in this bottom one here. The hardest part was this little groove, this little grommet thing, plug, taking it out from the old one and putting it in. That is from the old one. Just pull it out and remove it. We have the thermostat, yay, and that goes in here. So I'm about to put rubber grease in it all and put the thermostat in. So the thermostat goes, the cross part there, that goes down. This little notch here, you can see there's only one notch on it. That goes in line with this notch here. So it goes that way. I'll try and get a better view of that. So this notch here goes in line with this notch here. Torx in first. Do, 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 do. A new radiator for you, little car. This way or the other way? Be that way. That's where the thing is. Go. Where does this go? Go under here. Cool. Same, right? Straight back here. Yeah, just sits on that little thing. Okay. Rubbish. What I need. Yeah, a little bit of light. So now it's just connecting this hose, which I've put rubber grease on. Put the light on so you can see. You can see the pink rubber grease on the O-ring. The O-ring's actually okay in that. Put rubber grease in this one as well, which goes below. You can see there's a fair amount of rubber grease in there. And that's the transmission cooler. Put rubber grease on that. And just going to pop them in. While you're here, don't forget to reconnect your little plug that goes to the bottom here. If you remember, there's I'll show you. So that connects to this grey thing here, which is your level sensor. That just pops out and slides out. So the connection goes there. It helps the car know what level the coolant's at, if it's too low or not. Sometimes they can go bad, but they're cheap to replace. So this is the cardboard from the radiator. So I'm going to use that as like a prep table. Keeps things a little bit neat. So this is the upper radiator hose, which goes like that. And then we got the lower radiator hose, which comes up that way. And this is the little, it's a coolant sensor, it's not a thermostat, sorry. And that goes in there and just clips in. And then we're going to grease them up and clip them on. Okay, so that's the coolant temperature sensor. I did actually get a new one, but it's got 4 plugs there. It's only got 1. And this one looks fatter. It doesn't have the clip in, so I don't think that's right. Because if you have a look at it, just take it out. They're completely different. So, but the O-ring and everything's okay on this. I've had no leaks on that side. There's a bit of gunk on there, so I'm going to reuse that. And I mean, it's easy replacement anyway. I can just send it back or get another one. These new hoses come with the new metal clips, which is good. So I'm just going to do the O-rings on them and then put them on. This is the upper radiator hose. And that's the lower one. So before I click this in, I'll just show you, there's actually a little notch in the hose where it comes up as well. Then I'm going to put this one on, click the sensor on, I'll do the upper. I'll do the upper first. So when you pop these, I pop the whole lower hose in first. When you pop these in, make sure you hear it click. That's the quick release, so it pops out and you squeeze it to pull it off. Figuratively speaking. I actually really like how they've marked these with white at the top, so you know which one's in line. It's actually a really smart idea. So just line the hose up first. It's not pushed all the way on, and then I'll actually connect it, push it further, make sure it fits snug, and the clips go down. So this part was a little bit of a wrestle, but there's a notch here, there's one underneath the hose. I don't know, you can't really see it, I guess. Yeah, this little bit here, it's a notch. It goes underneath the hose and they have to line up for it to go in. So I just had to push down a little bit on this corner to give it some space. It's a bit of a snug fit. Now it holds in tight and it's all locked in. So that's the upper hose done. That's the lower hose done. So now it's really the fan and yeah, it's those things, the fan and the cover, and then we bleed it. So the shroud has to go all the way in together with the fan. Make sure that the shroud is sitting as far down as you can, otherwise you won't get enough room for the fan. I try and squeeze my hands either side of the fan. You only really need like a thread or two, and then it kind of sits on, and then just spin it until it's tight. It's probably the hardest part of the whole thing, to be honest, putting the fan back on. Just takes a little bit of patience. Spinning it all the way on. There we go. And as you can see, it's no longer, if it'll focus again, you can see it's no longer turning. So it's all the way on. I'll give it a gentle, snug tighten up with the spanner. These, the tools, and I just use zip ties for this because that's what was on there, and it's just a quick, easy release thing because those plugs break, they're annoying. So I just replaced, it was replaced with zip ties before I got the car, so yeah, I just did that. There we go. You don't really need to tighten that up too tight because the way the engine works, it keeps it tight anyway, so once it's on, it's gonna keep it tight itself. And then I'm looking for, where was he? Here we go. This little plug here connects into here. So you just have to remember where you put everything. So I'll get some zip ties, I'll do that, and then we'll go into the bleeding process after I put that on. That's only like, 2 bolts, 3 bolts, 4 bolts. So before I forget, don't forget this little facade thing that covers the radiator, and also can't forget to put our airbox back in either. So it's a good idea if you align your screws so they're easy to actually get to after, so you can undo them. And then afterwards, this thing here clips onto there, and then clips straight in there. Align the bolts, and then that's in. So that's all back in. It's starting to look normal again. As you can see, I've adjusted that so it's easier to get to with a screwdriver. I can just put my hand in and it's in line. This, I'll just show you the quick release. See how it's popped up? Squeeze it down and then you slide it off. So I really just use these two to hold it on. You could probably even use zip ties for that, to be honest. When you put this bracket on that's above the radiator, it's got little holes on there, so that's what's going to hold it on. These two are really just for the front. As you can see, that's already like cracked and come out, so it doesn't really hold that down. And this one I've lost, but all I really need is like a nut with a big washer. I can put that on, but it's not really going to affect too much. But yep, it's on. It's on, and she's looking like normal again. Look at that. So now I'm going to do the bleeding process. So what I'm going to do the bleeding process, I've got a jump starter, so a battery charger. I'm going to hook it to the negative and the positive there, so I don't drain the battery. And you do heater, low speed, air conditioning off, full heat. I'm going to jack up this side so it's higher than the rest of the car, and you take the bleeder screw out and fill it up till it comes all the way out and there's no air. Then put the bleeder screw back in, drop it down, let the air come out, turn the thing back off, power 2, and so there's no air anymore. Check the level, and hopefully she's all good. But yeah, I'll actually do that and physically film it. So to jack these up, you can see the side under here. You go under. This little square bit is your jack point. So I'm using a 2-litre milk jug to pre-mix the coolant and the distilled water, and we're going to pour it in. I'm going to use my bit of cardboard just to double check if there's any leaks. I'm going along. And before I actually turn the ignition switch to position 2 to put the fan on, I'm going to fill some up first, so she's actually got some coolant in there to start pushing around. I just spilt some a little bit, but should be all right. As it goes down, it will come up, so just pour it in slowly, and you're waiting for it to come out the bleeder hole there, which it hasn't yet. So I've just turned the charger on. I had a little bit come out. I'll just show you quickly. We have it on position 2. Turn the radio off. I've got it on high heat, low fan, that on high, aircon off. What that does, it helps push the air out as you're feeling it, and because this point is the highest point, we'll make sure that all the air comes out. It's just my battery charger having a whinge. There you go. So there you can see it's full at the moment. There's no more coming out, and that's level. So I'm just going to leave it for a little bit and see if it can push any more air out, and leave it for 5 minutes, see if it can push any more air out. If it doesn't, put the bleed screw on, put the cap on, lower it down, take the cap off, see if it's still level, and yeah, that should be it. Okay, so now we pray for a miracle. She's running. Suckle that through. Success. That's how you do it. Gonna take it for a little spin now, and then just double check it over the next couple of days, and she should be good. That rattling is just my air compressor. I think there's a bearing in it. It's got a bit weird. Yep, that's it.